Off, right?
Bam!
Oh, we're live. Awesome.
We are live.
Sweet.
I don't know what it means, though, because I've got all of 12 followers on YouTube. So,
Well, I mean, we're hitting 1% of those right now
I know.
because I think I follow you.
You and my mom. So, she's already turned in. Let's see what happens here. I don't know what. I don't know how to put it on something else just to see what the YouTube channel looks like, if anything.
I have 2 monitors. And I am banned from YouTube. Awesome.
Are you really?
Yeah, because I created this under a business account, and until it's verified, they won't let me use YouTube to keep spam down.
Gotcha.
Oh, but you know what? I can do this on my iPad while we talk.
I've got this other account over here. We'll see what it pulls up. There you go. And I should follow myself. I think I do. The Reese Carter. Yeah, there we go.
You're not B. Reese Carter, though.
But I should be playing something live.
There we go.
Do you see anything?
I do not.
I do not either. Where did I say it was supposed to go? You are live. Okay, I'm going to view it on YouTube. You're about to view a podcast.
Is there a broadcast delay, I wonder?
Could be. Closing YouTube while you're live. This saves bandwidth. Okay, if you need, mute it, blah, blah, blah. No. YouTube adds about 10 seconds to delay. Okay, continue to YouTube. All right. I've got that side muted. It looks good. I mean,
dude, it looks more than good. You know why? Because you're in the camera.
There's a sexy factor to it. I can see
yes,
it.
Yes, there is.
Right on. And there's one person watching this, myself. All right.
I'm trying to figure out how you even got to that point because I don't
either. I'm going to... Where could I put this at? Facebook. It'll blow up on Facebook.
Yeah, it will. I mean, we have one guy watching us right now, and I think that's you.
That is definitely me.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Well, I got it taken to your page.
Here, let me go back to this one. What are we doing here? We're testing something.
We're testing this out.
Rucking. Tribalism. Cults. Here, well, let's really fuck with the algorithm. Cult. Sure. And yeah, here we go. And add to the post. How can we invite somebody to come on?
I think you just invite them. Hang on. Yeah, because down there you click the little invite icon, and then you can copy that link and send it.
Okay, we should have a live feed going at the same time.
I mean, it's telling us we're live.
It says we're live, but I mean, comments. Let's play with this here. Wow.
No.
Lighting is on point. Now, where do we see this?
There we go. Yeah, buddy.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. Okay, so there is a slight delay. There's like maybe 15 seconds.
But that was me chatting from the YouTube page.
I know. I see a little Reese there with the YouTube thing. You're facing the other way in your YouTube profile as you are on your Red Cell. That's how I know.
So yeah, that's my Studio 3V account. And that's how I know it. So it's like I recognize the icons going, okay, I'm not in this. This is my other profile.
Sweet.
So how was your team call today?
It was pretty good. We had 2 guests on. Not sure what they're gonna do, but it was good. How'd yours go this week?
It was really good. So I started a leadership platform with some key guys, and I was expecting 4, but one guy didn't get all his stuff squared away to go. So I anticipate he'll be dropping in this week for the 4th.
Sweet.
Little fast tracking, but that was good, man. And it was something that I brought up on the Leaders channel in an impromptu pull it out of your butt leadership lesson.
I did that too.
Which I'm glad it happened. I like those because you could overthink things, but it made me come up with this formula for team and leadership effectiveness, and it made me realize that your team's only going to produce at the level of the ones that are producing.
Yeah.
So if you have it, let's say for round numbers, you have a team of 10.
Okay, I do.
But you could think that you're going to produce at a team of 10, but you're naive if you've got a couple of noobs.
A couple.
Those guys aren't going to produce. And then you've got the guys that they're only going to produce for themselves. They're still learning. And so it made me recognize, that the path, this elusive path that we're on, it actually has legs and switchbacks to it all. So it came up with the notion that there's 4 legs to it, and the first one's alignment and aligning and living and leading and leaving. The idea of legacy. And because I come across leaders all the time that are like, oh, I got 10 guys, I got 15 guys. It's like, you do, but if you just pulled half of them out of the forge, you're not going to get anything out of those guys.
That's where I started, right? That's what I did. I had me and Trevor and 10 forge guys.
Yeah,
like that was how the team started, and then we went down to 8 within 7 months because
they just don't stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, that's the weird thing is some of them did stick, but the 2 that did stick.
No. I'm not saying all of them. I'm not saying, but there's ratios there. Some stick, some don't. And so if you've got when we realize that our forge guys, half of them exit in the first in the first quarter, and you're picking those guys up before the quarter's up. Do that math, It's so So anyway, guys just weren't predicting well enough for their own outcomes, and it's like, well, hold on, just by I mean, and you saw the dialogue happen. And they're like, oh well, some of these are really good guys. So I'm like, oh no, they are good guys, but statistically, there's still a lifespan here.
Yeah,
and you got to work with the lifespan. Those are the only knowns you have. So, if those guys are still trying to get on the path, they're not going to be effective for even recruiting other guys to the team.
Yeah.
They're just eye candy for when the visitors come.
Well, they're eye candy, or they're they're there because I've seen it in the past where they're actually like addicted to self-improvement, and like they have the books and they keep getting involved in groups and but they're not actually making like any attempt to actually improve themselves. They're just addicted to the process of it. And the more books they have and the more groups they're a member of, they feel better about themselves. And then they don't, it's almost like the, we talked about it a lot where like the person signs up for the marathon, right? And they get all the dopamine and congratulations on sign up day. They announce it on Facebook. Yeah, I signed up for this marathon, and like 500 congratulations. Yeah. You haven't even like taken a step yet, dude. Like what's going on here? Congratulate me when I'm done. But I mean, I've seen that. I've definitely seen that.
I'm guilty of it.
I mean, I think we all like dopamine, man. Like,
yeah, we do. But I like that perspective. There's like, did you remember all those accolades when it came time for the event?
No, I didn't get any accolades. Like I signed up for this half marathon, and everybody congratulated me on the front end. And then when I finally did it and put up the picture,
that's all I wanted.
Medal, like
so
nothing.
Now I don't even have to go on the marathon.
I put up my medal, and I was like, yeah, I finally did it. 13.5 miles, like 4 months after kidney surgery, and like 2 likes, and one of them was my mom, and the other one was my wife. Like nobody came back after I actually did the thing.
Could you buy a T-shirt anyway?
I got a T-shirt for free. Well, not for free. I got it when I signed up, but I still wear it. So got that going for me.
That's funny. And if you stick around, they'll probably let you buy a T-shirt for the after effect and a patch for the participation, because it really wasn't a leaderboard. So
no, I didn't place anywhere on that.
But anyway, so yeah, we came up with the formula, and just so 10 guys, the effectiveness of your team, or the health of your team. If you're starting with 10 guys, the guys that are still learning how to do things, they're still in alignment. They're not worth anything. They're actually a hindrance on the team. Yeah. So they're -1. The guys that are getting some reps under them and they're just walking it out, but they're not attractive to anybody else. They don't have any influence, like was talked about in Manifesto. They don't have any influence yet. They're just getting their own reps done. Mm-hmm. So they're a 0, but that's what you want. That's a healthy team. The guys that are doing things for themselves.
Yeah. Healthy promoter detractor balance.
Yeah. But they're not helping with those new guys yet.
No,
they're still figuring out their own reps. It's the ones that it's the fire team leaders that you have, the guys that want to be in that position. They're like, okay, I got the reps down. Those guys are actually, they're not there to go find more people. They're there to help those new guys, those -1s, those alignments right there. So this idea that you're going to be attractive to everybody else, the onus for onboarding is ultimately on the team leader. That guy's got to get dialed in.
Well, yeah, that'd be me.
And he's got to know how to communicate, and he's got to know how to write. And he can't write those stupid gay posts that are like, if you want to be on a team of winners.
We just had a guy complaining about that like this morning. Like, if I see one more post, like, come join my team. Like, I'm gonna
join my team. Like, I'm gonna start laughing at them.
You're not intentional at all.
I'm gonna fill their comment thread up
just with laughy faces. That's what they need. We need more than just a heart emoji to like things. We need full range of emotion.
I'm on a rampage now. I'm gonna flood them.
Flood them. No, but I mean, it's good. But let's talk about the other side of that. Let's talk about I've got a guy who's kind of a plus minus, we'll say. Like he's got a little slash because he can promote in some places and detract in others, but he's got he's definitely more on the negative side because he is new to the process and he is getting his stuff together. But let's talk about when those guys have the right heart, but not necessarily the skill set, right? Because he took in a stray essentially. Like he's seeing all this improvement in his life. He's got all this stuff going on. And he saw a guy that reminded him of himself when he first joined up with us. And then so he takes this guy in. He's got this guy living with him. And the guy's like, just getting clean off of drugs and just getting into his first job and has nowhere to go. And he takes this guy in. And the first thing I tell him is, you're not in the headspace for this. You've got all of these things going on. And I listed out everything that's going on in his life. And I can't, if I talk about it, like it's going to be really obvious who it is. I was like, you can't handle this. And 2 weeks later, I mean, it has devolved into the crap show of all crap shows, keeping this, nice for our audience here. But like, let's talk about that side. Like, what do you do in that situation when you've got a guy with the right heart and he just won't, like, he just wants to help everybody now?
And he's still kind of a white knight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But, is that something you can even change in him? Do you think? Like, is that something you can even improve on? Or is that just he's got this need to be the hero? Because definitely the white knight thing tracks from everything I know about him, everything he's told me. His relationships in the past, it definitely tracks that he's got to be the savior.
I would challenge that guy to
a duel.
Challenge him. I would challenge him to leaning on, just getting around his mentors and just asking for permission. Do you think this is a good idea? Do you think this is a good idea? And then let that mentor wean him off. I mean, I don't know if I'm right. But I could only imagine like somebody going, man, somebody to speak into his life going, I just don't think, does he have accountability like that? Does he have a mentor?
He's got me. And, it's one of those things. He didn't ask as much as he came on, but you're really touching on an important thing here, because we preach being sovereign men, being men in charge of our own destiny, but we never really talk about earning it and earning the right to be sovereign through, like, your actual leadership currency, as Jocko would say. And I'm just reminded of this situation here because my mother-in-law is actually kind of going through it right now. She won't take care of her health and she's becoming more reliant on me and my wife, but she doesn't want to be. And it's kind of the same situation. Like, you're not putting in the work, but you want the results.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, but hearing it in my voice isn't working.
Yeah.
So, like, what's the next course of action for a leader to do in that situation? Do you pass him off? Because I don't feel like I've done everything I can do for him.
I would think that you didn't have the right communication in the deal to begin with, the clear boundaries and the clear lines of the clear expectations.
I don't know.
Boy, Scott.
Yeah, he found Reese and Chris.
He did. I guess we're attractive somewhere.
We are.
Or he's just cruising on YouTube.
Cool. Welcome.
Yeah, I would say that there wasn't any clear enough boundaries set out there for for when those things, you got to have a what is that? I saw it the other night in a movie, SHTF, when shit hits the fan scenario.
Yeah.
Like, what could go wrong with this? What can go wrong in this scenario, and what are my plan Bs when it does? Because it's just a matter of, and family is a hard one.
Yeah,
a family is a hard one to confront that, because you want to be kind and nice in the whole situation, but that's not good. That's not fair. It's definitely, it's not for their own good.
Yeah. No, it's just it's amazing how the theory of what we're talking about, though, and having to earn your place everywhere, so to speak, it transcends every aspect of our lives, whether or not we realize it.
I think I'm pretty thorough on those what if scenarios, and going, well, this could go south. How are we going to handle that? I I have a lot of people around me that want to, and that's part of leading it. But I have a lot of people around me that want to go, oh, you're just looking at it negatively. Or it's like, why are you trying to, rain on the parade or what? No, no, these things could happen.
Yeah.
You know,
Risk management, man.
yeah, that's really it. So I think that's where, I mean, from a leadership standpoint, that's where the thick skin is required. And and it's not for the people that come in hating on you. It's the people that actually think they they think they have your best interest when they're telling you like, oh, you're just raining on the parade. It's like, no, 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 this could really happen. What are we going to do? How are we going to confront this
Yeah.
when it happens? Yeah, the broke cousin that wants to come crash on the couch is like, you can do it, but you got 72 hours.
Yeah. There's a time frame.
There's got to be a time frame because you're impacting on me.
Well, there's a time frame to it, but there's also the trap that we fall into as leaders, or I don't know. I don't want to say we, because I don't want to qualify you in this because I know it's a me problem, where I assume that what I see could go wrong or what I think needs to be done is common sense. And I don't need to address that because why would you do that? And then they do that.
It helps me when I get my wife on board.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden I've got two people. Now I'm stronger. I've got a more of a united front.
Yeah.
And if I can win her over in something, then it's like, okay, cool. Then we can.
Well, yeah, but at the same time in your house, you run into Jesus and Nazareth syndrome with your wife because she's always going to say, "I knew you when," or "I remember when," and that's something I run into here. Like when I bring something up and it's the changed, reformed version of me. If she really doesn't want to go, she'll dig her heels in and go like, "Where did this come from?" Because I remember back when you wouldn't do this or when you couldn't do this. I run into that a lot here.
We're pretty good about not bringing up the old baggage because we knew we were pieces of crap before that. So
Yeah.
we know that's not fair.
I mean, I know
so that's not a hurdle that I don't think I have to. I can see where guys can be in that position for sure. But I don't think we struggle with that one. I struggle with it more in my head than it's actually real. That's for sure.
No, that's interesting because I actually, and maybe it's just a part of growing out of the circle, but I run into that a lot, usually with people that have known me 15 plus years. Like, oh, you're going to do that? Like, wow, I remember back when you were XYZ. Like, I remember back when you were like high school, you couldn't even finish math and you're going to do this. Like, you're going to start this company. Like, you couldn't even finish. You dropped out of high school over math. I'm like, yeah, I did. But, I grew up. That was when I was 18. I'm 36 now. That was 18 years ago.
Was it? I think it was Kevin Hart was talking to Joe Rogan and was talking about taking the SATs. He said, I got a 585 on my SAT, and they give you a 400 if you put your name on it.
Yeah, no, I didn't even take those. I don't even know what I would have gotten because I never took them.
I never took them either.
I will tell you that taking the shortcut though definitely helped me get into college because they were like, oh yeah, no, you dropped out and got your GED. We don't need any of that. So streamlining. Not that I advise that, but it's easy to get into college.
Yeah, I didn't have to take any of those because I was already enrolled in the military, and they didn't care.
Yeah, they didn't care for me either. They were like, "Oh, you're a body, cool." It's 2005. It's 2005. A lot of guys are going over to Iraq. Let's go. You're willing? Let's go. They wavered everything. I think I had a stack of waivers like that thick. They were like, "Yeah, whatever."
That's funny.
Doors open.
How'd we get down that rabbit hole?
I don't know. We were talking about Jesus and Nazareth syndrome and something that.
Oh, explain that. No. Describe the because I've got a couple of theories in that.
No, it's it's something I run into, and granted, I'm I don't want to say newly reformed, but I've been really working on self-improvement for the last 3 years. So there are a lot of people in my circle that might not necessarily belong in it anymore because they can't go where I'm going. But essentially what I'm referring to is like back when Jesus returned, and was giving his message, the people in the village were essentially like, "Isn't that Mary's boy that we used to see like choking on wheat?" In like, really, like, that's that toddler, and he's gonna come back and tell us about life. And I run into that a couple times, probably a couple times a quarter, where I will say something or I will give somebody advice, and they will immediately go like, when I tell people, not necessarily from an alcoholic standpoint, but when I'm like, you know, you I found that I was wasting a lot of time drinking, and if you want to achieve your goals, maybe you should give some of that up, because I found an extra 4 hours a day where I wasn't sitting around BSing with a bottle. I'll get something along the lines of, "Well, I mean, you just stopped that yourself. You're probably gonna go back to it."
Mm.
Like, and it's always, "I remember when," or "I knew you when." So, you know, an effective leader can't just look at those people and be like, "Okay, yeah, no, just do it." Because I mean, it's not do as I say, not as I do, but I mean, I am doing it, but you still run into this resistance, and it's like really one of those things you can't counter, because you're like, "Well, yeah, I know I was doing that thing, or I know I was doing those things, but like, I'm trying to do better now, and I'm trying to help you do better."
There's always a possibility of just leaving town.
Oh, I'd love to. I'd love to go west of the mountains. That'd be awesome.
I mean, just yeah, finding a whole new circle, um, just leaving.
Yeah.
I mean, is it right? Is it wrong? I don't know, but it's an option. Um,
Well, and I should qualify it with, like, not everybody's going to go everywhere with you, right? Like, you're going to grow, you're going to outgrow people.
oh no. When you leave,
Yeah.
you're leaving it all behind.
And this is a symptom of outgrowing people, right? Like,
Yeah.
they don't want to go. They don't want to go with you. That's why you got to find new rooms. You got to find, if you're the smartest guy, if you're the whatever guy in the room, you got to find a new room. You got to find new iron to sharpen on.
Mhm.
And maybe this all comes back to a lesson in that. Maybe this just all comes back into the lesson of, this is your sign. If they're bringing up your past and not willing to move forward with you, then stop.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just so yeah, the leaving is an option. Um, Being okay with the house cleaning that comes with it.
Yeah.
Because by the way, when you leave, you quote unquote leave town, you don't get to take anything with you.
No. Yeah. No. Good point. Good point. It's almost like a fire sale.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I like it.
Um, is it good? I don't know. Um, and you'll start to figure out you can only do it so many times.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I never really have. I came right back here with my wife, and um, aside from some really really bad people, I fell kind of back into the same circle. You know, of people I've known since high school. So, I mean, you got a point there. You got a point, and it has been on our radar to move anyway. So maybe I'll take your advice.
Where would you go?
I would actually. We're talking about going to, so that area of North Carolina and Tennessee, the Great Smoky Mountains National Park area. Like, we're actively looking there. A couple hangups here. One of them being, her family and all that. But yeah, no, we would definitely go west, somewhere in the Cherokee, Bryson City, maybe over to Gatlinburg, Tennessee area. That's the best area of this area. I tried the Georgia mountains; they weren't that great.
Yeah.
Sorry, Reese. They weren't impressive.
We moved farther north of Atlanta last year, and glad I did. It's pretty attractive out here in the burbs.
Yeah.
But it's gotten weird going into town now. I don't know, just some janky stuff going on.
Well, there is.
The whole city's weird. There's no law enforcement. I mean, traffic could shut down, and
Yeah.
I don't know. Look up ATL Scoop.
ATL Scoop. I was going to say, because we don't even have a police department right now where I'm at. I mean, I told you that before. Like, our police department just resigned unanimously.
On Instagram,
Yeah, I see that.
ATL Scoop, and probably down that you'll see something with traffic and people just doing burnout sessions right on the interstate. We're at a major
Yeah.
intersection.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of interesting. Like, I'll have to look it up on my phone, but there's like broken glass and all sorts of stuff going on there in the city
Um,
that I didn't know about.
ATL Scoop. Instagram.
Should just look it up on my phone to begin with.
3.
ATL Scoop. There we go. Accounts. Yeah, I'm seeing everything you're talking about. But I mean, that's becoming everywhere. Like, are you finding? Because I definitely am, and I'll be vocal about it. Like, everybody's weird, man. Lately, like people are acting weird. Like everything just feels off.
Here,
there you go. Way to share it, Reese.
Just shut down.
It's shooting fireworks off at the buildings, and there's a Challenger. I like Challengers. I got one myself.
This is a routine thing at 5 a.m.
That's insane. Now, what's the cause? Because you always say the thing is never the thing. So what are they doing this for? Because there's this many people on one united front. They're not just doing it because, well, I mean, it might be fun. I don't know. Is there a reason for it?
Not that I can tell, but I'm not in those cultures. I don't really care. It's like,
and yeah, Scott, my entire police department, Kenly, North Carolina, Kenly. You can actually look it up. They just all walked out. Now we have 2 sheriffs. There was some issues with the city manager, and they all resigned, which didn't really affect me. I live outside city limits anyway, so I got the sheriff. But now we have sheriffs in the actual city proper too. Nothing really bad has happened though, because sheriffs took over, and there was only 4 cops to begin with. So
it's it really, I think it comes down to because they can get away with it.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the statistic is on what the police force is at now, but it's definitely reduced. So the only thing you can do, like Scott said, Scott here in the feed and saying it's only begun. I can only imagine. I mean, all you can do is just like keep your lane clean and buy more ammo.
Well, I mean, that's really all you can ever do, though, right? Like a lot of stress we see, nationwide, really comes from trying to influence or worry about others' problems when your own lawn isn't even mowed, kind of thing. Like, you can feed yourself. Like I was talking to one of my really, really good friends who's going through a lot of shit over the last 6 months. And I was like, hey, do you need to talk? Like, I'll reach out. And he was like, no, man, this is all stuff that's happening to me. I can't change it. All I can do is move forward.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I really wish I could have that kind of emotional resiliency, especially in the face of what you've been dealing with. It was really eye-opening. But I mean, to your point, that's really the main source of a lot of problems, is that we're not realizing that it's happening to us or it's happening around us. We really can't control that. But we can control how we react, and we can control how we move forward.
I think, well, we can control how we act, and we can influence what's immediate to us.
Yeah. But you got to be willing to live it too. Like, you can't just say it. You can't just say, no, don't.
Oh, no. You can just, say it on Facebook. That's fun.
Yeah, no,
that runs its course.
I mean, I actually did delete my entire Facebook in the spirit of leading more effectively. There was a lot of stuff and a lot of people on there that I wanted to move past, and the only way to do it was like axe the entire thing.
So essentially, you moved out. You moved out of town.
I did. Like, I'm down to like 37 friends now. I had like over 150, 200 friends, something like that. But I was looking at my profile one day, and I was like, this is a mess. Like, this isn't going to affect any change. This isn't effective leadership. It's not an effective example. Like, nobody's going to look at this page and think that I've evolved past what that is. And maybe that was some of the problem. So, I just axed the whole thing, and I refriended like the people that I wanted. And I haven't posted anything on it, because I'll start writing a post and I'll be like, you know what? Is this beneficial in any way? No. Okay. Bye. Delete it.
Have you gotten put up the sideways post that gets you unfriended on the regular?
No, because I haven't, like I said, man, I haven't put anything.
Maybe not recently, but
I tried to put up a couple posts about moving forward. I would usually like just delete them because, like, whatever. I don't know, maybe confidence issue in the post or whatever, but I'd put them up there and then I'd be like, you know what? I don't need to go there. I don't need to take it down. I don't need to go there. Take it down.
I started learning to ask myself, why do I need to post this? Why do I need to do it?
Yeah,
And a lot of my reasonings ended up being just because I was trying to be antagonistic and be spiteful.
exactly.
And when I started realizing, like, that's not good. That's
Well,
like,
yeah, no, it's not good, but it's also a symptom of it. At least in my situation, it was a symptom of trying to be for everybody.
oh
Like,
yeah, 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 yeah.
I wanted to be the guy that, as offensive as I can be, I wanted to be the guy that had his opinion, but let others have their opinions too. But I had to realize that not everybody was at that point where they could have the conversation too. And so it got to a point where like I was afraid to even like say an opinion on something because I could like name 7 people that were just gonna like throw gas on it and go.
Hmm.
And I mean, you've known me since like 2017, man. You know that if somebody throws gas on it, I got matches. I'm ready. There is nothing putting that out. So, but it's a thing of growth that we all have to examine, especially as we move into leadership. It's like, can we be the guy that's not going to light this up? Can we be the guy that, something is said or done that's outside of our sphere of influence or a sphere of control, and we just realize that there's really nothing we're going to say or do to change it. So is it worth the emotional energy of a fight?
Um, if I'm in the surrounding of the guys that have asked for it,
Exactly. But nobody ever does on
then I
Facebook.
owe them. And now a lot of people don't intentionally put themselves in those circles, but um, the guys that I lead, I respect the fact that they've asked there to be like called out on it,
Yeah.
and it's almost like a triggering, like you feel it when they're talking, all of a sudden it's like "Ba-ding!" like an alarm goes off. It's like and you're waiting for them just to finish their thought so you could just chump on it.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you're doing it so the others could see you do it. It's carnal.
Yeah.
It's like okay,
I'm the
you
smart
saw it,
one.
you saw this, or you heard the bells and whistles just like I did, but now here's what you do with it.
Yeah.
And then I have to start thinking through all my words of not projecting anything onto the individual that triggered it, and then not trying to put words in his mouth, but at the same time still lead him into that the sovereign direction that you think he needs to be going.
How do you do that?
The phrase of "have you considered," or "I'd have you consider," has saved my butt so many times. Because all I'm doing is I'm just asking him a question.
Well, yeah, and I mean they can get offended at the question, but at the end of the day, you haven't said anything. Which is also gives you some outs if they're like, "Hey, I went and did that thing you told." It's like I didn't tell you to. No, I
I
didn't
didn't
tell you
tell
to.
you to do that. I just
I just
suggested it for you to consider it and then make a decision about something.
asked you a question and left you to your own devices, sir.
Here's Scott. You say that shit to me all the time. Yes, I do.
I mean, you do.
Because I'm trying to get you to think out of your own way.
I mean, you've actually gotten to a point where you initiate conversations like that. Sometimes you just walk up and you're like, "Hey, man, have you ever thought about?"
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
great.
hard. I used to get in trouble all the time, way younger. It's what got me doing what I do now architecturally.
Yeah,
Um, I was a young airman, NCO, uh, and would come in and come up with a better way of doing something. It was always better than what was handed to
Mhm.
me. And I would just change it on the spot. I had zero recognition of the fact that somebody else had put their own heart and soul into it,
yeah.
and that the decision making was already done. I was there to uh, come up with a better way. I got in so much trouble, but I had this one. Supervisor that was he was super uh, helpful in I didn't respect it at the time. I didn't realize it until years way later. But he was really good on the "have you considered" or "I'd have you consider" kind of scenario.
Yeah.
Um, but when I left one job, I was at an assignment in England. And when I was leaving, they made a going away plaque for me. And on the going away plaque, it even said, it's like, I was airman at the time, senior airman at the time. And it said Senior Airman Carter, and in quotes below, it's like, no, check this out.
no, I got an idea.
And it's like, it made me realize, or it was years later going, oh wait, people saw this and this about me. It's like, okay, stop opening your mouth and listen more often.
Yeah. No, so like that was your eye-opening moment that you might be stepping on toes.
Yeah. But but the fact that I was a visionary was something that I needed to stay with. And that's what Rick, that was my boss at the time, that's what he was pointing out. He's like, you're a visionary. There's no doubt about it. I had another guy later on that pushed me into architecture. He's like, you've got great ideas, but nobody cares.
Yeah.
But if you learn to put those ideas on paper, then nobody can take them away.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, I think I'm following you. And so that's what made me start getting the ideas. And it's like, once I document it, then they could be bad ideas. There's something powerful when they're on paper.
No, there is definitely. I mean, that's what I do with branding and marketing and writing and all that. It's like, I was kind of pushed into it for the same idea or the same reason you were, but it was more like, well, if you've always got a better way of doing things, then why don't you go do something with it and like stop being here? Like I remember the first time I was brought in on something to improve it. I went away for like a week, drew up a whole new way of doing things, and just kind of like dropped it on the desk of the person in charge of it, and like got an email back from her, and I was like, oh yeah, man, I nailed this. This is gonna be a great email. And like all the email basically said was like, this is incredibly insulting. Like I hadn't even thought about it.
Well, the funny thing is, though, is like even in those situations, because even in those situations, you're writing that email and kind of putting the whole thing. I'm going to show them, and you go put it on paper, and you've got a whole presentation there, and it's getting all done out of angst and spite. When you go turn it in, they're like, "Thank you, something's documented. Now we can work with it." Because you were useless while you were standing there on a soapbox going, we need to do this. We need to do this. We're like, we can't sell. We need to do this. It's got to be documented. It's got to be something that can be presented with. I get it.
Yeah. And it's that drive. It's very important that we nurture it though in our leadership scenario, because you don't want to crush it. Because that's an innovator. That's a person that's going to come make things better. But at the same point that you were making earlier, that person doesn't have any leadership currency to spend, but they need the opportunity to develop it. It's the whole, I don't have experience, so I can't get a job, but I can't get a job because I don't have experience circle. And like, we need to do our part as leaders to like nurture that. And
so those 3 points from manifesto, that the credibility, influence, and authority could let you walk in and just say, this is how it's going to go down.
Yeah.
You're given authority to do so. But if there's no influence, if there's no credibility there, it's going to be it's not going to resonate.
Yeah.
It's going to go to that person that's right in front of you, but it's not going to have effect on a number of people. You're going to end up repeating yourself multiple times. Yeah. But the person with real influence, with a bit of a pedigree behind them, not a ton, but just, and it doesn't even have to be a diploma.
Yeah.
Experiences.
Yeah.
As somebody that has, no, but they've got enough experiences. They've got enough reps and scars.
Yeah.
And people see those things and they can go, oh, okay, Okay.
You know, it's funny you
Um,
mentioned that because I was thinking about ways that you can like really know that somebody's doing what they're trying to teach you how to do, and it's like when you're going, like for me, when I'm going into the Smoky Mountains, like I'm a guide service or a rafting trip or whatever, it's like, do you want the person that's there with like fresh boots, fresh pants, a fresh raft, like never looks like they've been tested, or do you want the raft that like you can tell may have popped at some point and was put together like
duct
with some
tape together, and that dude's got 2 teeth.
Yeah, that dude's got 2 teeth,
You
and
know,
you're
he lives
terrified.
in those woods.
Yeah, and you're terrified, but you know he lost those teeth on an oar or something. Like something happened, but that's the guy that's going to get you home.
Right.
And like but you see those people that are probably the most qualified. You want to pass them up because they're not streamlined, they're not pretty, or they're weird or whatever. It's like but they're showing you they know how to get there and get back. It's funny you bring that up.
So it's cool that those 3 things, they all the authority in the world, but if you don't have any reps, it's not going to resonate.
We have to
You
prove
could have
it.
all the influence and no credibility and no authority, but
Yeah.
it's
Well,
going
if
to
you want to
take
know
you
if you have authority, like
millions
use
of
your method.
people to get one of those proofs. Well, I don't know, Taylor Swift, which I mean, she's actually kind of a genius writer, and
I mean, she
and
is.
very
I mean,
talented.
great marketer. I mean,
But look how much power she has.
well, she does one thing and like 50 girls in UGG boots, like
Oh my
immediately, like no
gosh.
more than 50, like millions of girls in UGG boots, like grab their pumpkin spice and run to whatever
Oh,
it is. Like
yeah.
it's amazing. It's kind of terrifying actually, but
Because this last album that I was listening to it, and I was like, "There's just nothing that's making me." She's angry and bitter and everything, and maybe that's what she wanted to put out, but it's definitely nothing inspiring. Um, no, shake it off or anything
yeah,
like that. You know, I mean,
hey, you're
I'm a
with it.
Swifty. I'm
You're
a
hip.
Swifty. I'm
You're with
cool.
it. That's the
Uh,
only song by her I know.
but you get what I'm saying. It's like it doesn't sound like it's like the greatest album ever, but she has so much influence. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
No, I mean
And
it's
even if it's total crap, her influence is so strong. They're going to give her so much grace on the next one. They're going to. Well, her people are never gonna doubt her. They're gonna go, well, we'll just wait for the next one. They'll never speak ill of her.
well, she's proven it.
Yeah. Um, you're aware of what she's did on her whole library of music, don't you?
I didn't she pull it off of streaming services, I believe is what it was. You can
So
fill me in on this because I'm not too familiar with
so
Taylor.
she her record label was getting traded or bought out by others and was trying to, she wanted some permissions to use the music and wasn't getting it.
Mhm.
And then kind of got screwed over on her deals. And so she said, okay, went and she's re-recorded all of her albums.
Okay.
So now she owns the rights to that music. So basically she just did a cover of her own, which covers are it's a recreation.
Yeah,
And I don't think she has to pay any royalties on those.
that's genius. Like that's amazingly. I mean, genius is the only word for like, man. I mean, I'm not into her. I'm not, that crazy about her. I only really know Shake It Off, but like, that's impressive.
The because other bands have kind of been in similar situations, but they went and they fought for the masters.
Yeah, the Goo Goo Dolls,
Motley Crue,
Billy Joel, Motley Crue. They've all kind of been there. Yeah.
Didn't the Beatles lose all of theirs to Michael Jackson in his estate?
I want to say he had the catalog at one point. I don't know if he still does.
Yeah, I think it might have got finagled back to Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
Hopefully so. That'd be a part. But yeah, to lose it all like that, just because I mean, once it's put out there and you make a deal with book or recording or video or everything, you're the creator. But if you sold all that stuff off, then you have no rights to it.
Exactly.
But for her to come back and go, no, I'm gonna do a cover album of my own stuff.
I mean, they can't do it. The thing that I appreciate the most about this is it's like the biggest middle finger. They can't do anything about it.
Huge,
I mean,
huge.
like that. It's that's BDE right there.
Mhm.
I mean, that's like I love it. I love it just because it gets under people's skin. Not like people, but like the executives. Like I know they're fuming over it. I love it.
So all of her, millions of Swifties, she's like, hey guys, I'm putting this out. Yeah, it'll sound the same, but stick it to the man.
Yeah,
And they will
do this for me.
Yeah.
I mean that's I don't necessarily know that we call it leadership, but it's definitely a currency she's built up. And I mean, in a real world example,
look, the definition of leadership is just moving somebody to advantage.
Good point. I mean, yeah.
Effective leadership is moving somebody. Effective leadership. Well, no, you can do it with ill will too. I mean, and just be downright evil. But moving somebody to influence, moving somebody to advantage is effective, and it's virtuous.
Yeah.
Like, if you're to be a virtuous leader is moving somebody to their advantage, not yours, because that's self-serving. But yeah, virtuous leadership is exactly that, moving them to their advantage.
I mean, as a leader, to your point, you can't.
So is Taylor Swift virtuous? I don't know.
Well,
I think it was. I don't think so. I think it was her
I mean, self-serving
for her. It's not bad. But
money. Yeah. I mean, we all are motivated by money. I mean, I can't say that if that thought hit me and I was in that situation that I wouldn't do the same.
I think if I remember the story right, I need to go back and look it up, but I thought she was wanting to use her music in some other mediums.
Take forever.
And it was like at a live performance that she wanted to, like, maybe at like a football game, a halftime or something like that. And the record company was being like, yeah, we'll get back to you.
So Scooter Braun sold her masters for $300 million, whoever that guy is.
Scooter Braun's a big deal.
Yeah,
he's responsible for Justin Bieber too.
Okay, so had her sign an NDA. I'm just skimming here. Shamrock Holdings, non-starter. Released 6 albums. Oh, so they essentially gave her a deal that she could sign back up to Big Machine Records and earn one of her albums back one at a time for every new one she turned in. It's not really clearly saying why they got into this fight, though. It just says he sold it. They were going to give her a 1-for-1 deal.
I think if I remember right, there was kind of like a handshake agreement on one thing, but then the guy sold it, and then that handshake agreement didn't go off to the next label that bought it.
That's why you don't do handshakes.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, best possible outcome is re-recording your stuff and saying, you know what, no.
That's just genius. That's a genius move. And actually, I think it's encouraged other people to do the same thing. I thought I remember in one article that the Jonas Brothers were looking to do something similar. Hanson.
Okay, so to your point, leading people to be better versions of themselves and showing them there's a path forward. So Taylor Swift is an effective leader.
Yeah.
Statement I never thought I'd hear myself say, but I mean, yeah, to your point, she showed people a way, but to your earlier point, she had the weight to throw behind it and say, you know, like, this is a huge risk. I'm going to take it. And it works out for me, you know, so you can do the same.
Yeah, she was definitely willing to suck and put herself out there and be vulnerable for it, for sure.
Yeah, can you imagine the stress of recording your own songs over again?
I'd be relieved. I'm from an artist standpoint, because I mean, I'm my own worst critic, and so now I get the chance to go back and you know, fix it and make it better. And I don't know, just kind of, some people are like, it's good enough, put it out. And it's like, well, that wasn't my best take. It was, we
80%,
liked it.
80%. It's 80% good. Go.
Yeah. But you know, that we're talking maybe 15 years later, and she's 100% better than what she was even back then.
I would hope after this long.
Yeah.
She's learned some
So
things.
so her 80% now is not 80 the same 80% that it was then for
No,
sure.
no, but that's not like I would be a wreck. Like because I would be like it's got to be exact. Like the voice crack has to be the same. Like
Have
that.
you recorded music and put it out?
No, not professionally. I mean, I played in a couple bands, but like we didn't have anything to record. We were
Oh,
just
really?
messing around. Yeah. I mean, the closest thing I got to recording was I was on a worship team and one of the guys wrote an original and I just happened to be the guy on that Sunday when when they recorded it. So yeah, I have technically recorded, but not due
Yeah.
to any talent other than just being there.
Um, Studio is hard. I played drums on a couple of things, and studio stuff is hard because it's expensive
Yeah.
for the session. Um, and as a drummer, anyway, you're in some instances you're not playing with the band.
Yeah, because your track's the first, right? Like because
Your
you got
track's the
everything.
first, and
Yeah.
then once it gets close enough, then you get to go back and redo it, and it's a little better, but it's still not the same thing as playing live.
Yeah.
So for me, it's pretty mind numbing trying to nail it. Um, so yeah, it's a whole other animal. I'd much rather play live and let somebody go back and tweak it after the fact and
Yeah, I have
clean up tracks.
nothing to compare that to. We equally sucked live. we we would have been a horrible studio experience for anybody. Like I don't even know if half of us were in the same tune at any time. Like it was bad.
Our live stuff that streams church wise is they're able to clean it up on the fly, which is pretty genius.
Nice.
Auto tuning the vocals, tweaking on guitar licks and bad bends here and there.
Oh, that's
You can
awesome.
catch those things. Um,
Technology.
the technology is fascinating. So even the live stuff is like you don't even have to go back and retouch it. Somebody's already
Nice.
kind of got it for you in that 10-second delay.
That's awesome. I mean
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's not something I could probably handle.
Cool. Man, I think this worked.
Yeah.
So
I'd say it did.
we'll
We got somebody
we'll,
rolling back in right here.
yeah,
Hello,
no.
person.
Hello, person.
Hitting us here at the end, but we're glad to have you.
Catch us back next week, 8:30, and we'll see what
8:30
happens.
Eastern. 8:30 Eastern.
Cool. All
So,
right, we get
what's up,
we
dude?
get extras.
Dude, they can't hear me, but what's
No,
up?
you can't.
Oh, I'll wave.
Yeah.
Yeah, waving. Like I didn't even think about the physical
Yeah,
indicators.
we'll figure that out on the next one. Man,
Sweet.
cool. Thanks for remembering. Let's we'll figure. I want to figure out the feed,
Yeah,
the
man.
live feed, because for somebody just to jump in there, that was actually interesting.
Yeah, that was cool.
So we could probably come up with some instruction as to what they can do.
Sweet.
Cool. I think what I'll do is here. Let's go. We're out.
Yeah,
Peace.
and broadcast. Woo.